Okay. Okay, awesome. So it's 7:30, sorry, 7:10. We have almost 30 people. Cool, awesome. Thank you everyone for being here. So let's get started with today's workshop. So today we will be building the UI for the minting engine. And if you remember from yesterday, it was uh, to this file, this file we have here. So we're building a minimal NFT site, right? And we just have a simple UI to add our own NFT and to list the NFT like so. So I'm also going to share this Figma file with you. So if you want to, you can also use this as a reference to build it on your own. However, we'll also build it in this workshop. Okay, so I'm going to start. Uh, right. So first of all, I already have a React project set up. So if you are watching this, if you're in this workshop by not being in this earlier workshops, you might have skipped that. So if you want to, you can go ahead and create a React app with npx, like so. You have to give npx create React app and the app name you want to have, and it will have a React project set up for you. Then what you want to do is you have to go into that project. So I'm currently inside the project right now. Uh, so I'm inside the NFT engine project, and once you're inside it, make sure you have the dependencies installed by doing npm install. That will install all the necessary dependencies packages required, such as React and React DOM. And to start the project, we will do npm run start. So this will start the project. Okay, so this is a simple input and button we developed yesterday to understand the basics of React forms and buttons. So we're gonna remove all of this stuff and we're gonna start building the UI as we can see here. Uh, Ashanani says you're not able to hear me. Uh, does everyone else feel the same? Please let me know if my voice is not audible. Okay, thank you, Zektox and Pavan, to confirming. Yep, thanks, Tarindu. Okay, with that, I think we should get started with navbar first. So if you remember, I went on and on about the components and stuff. So the idea is to have all the website broken down into components, right? So if you can see it, I would say the first component I can see is the navbar that is on the top. So we're gonna go ahead and start building this, right? So let me first clean up all of those, which we do not need right now. I'm gonna remove this. Don't need this. Don't need this user effect. Handler, all of this stuff. Okay, so this plain div over here. Okay, so so I see we already have a file named navbar in our components folder. So we're gonna build our navbar over here. Okay, so let's import. We already imported it here, so let's also have it in the app. Okay, so it's an navbar. I'm gonna remove this style as well. We'll add the necessary styles later. Okay, now let's look at the navbar in the design. Okay. So it's actually transparent, and the background you see is coming throughout the page. So we will have like a fixed height to it, and then we can have the logo and this image and this button, right? We'll get started with that. Okay, let's get the image now. So with Figma, if you select an element, an image, then you can go here in the export, that on your right, and you can export it as PNG or any other format you prefer. You can also preview what are you trying to export as well. So I'm going to export this whole logo component here. It is okay. So you can do that as well. So let's do that. 4x. So this is like defining what kind of resolution you want. So 4x is the highest the Figma provides. So we'll download the highest one. We'll click on export and it's downloaded. I'm going to take this and put this in our project. Okay. Control C, code, and our code is in NFT engine. I'm going to put it inside public. Okay. No, my bad. We should have an assets folder to store it. Let's create an assets folder first. So assets folder will be where we'll store all the images and stuff. And I'll paste it here. Okay, my bad. Now I can see it inside the assets. Okay, cool. Let's import that image, right? I can do that like this. Import logo from assets, Duo logo. So this is one way you can import image and have it in your image in the source. So this should work. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty big, right? So we'll try to give it a length specified here itself. So it's like 276 times 75 will give a similar style to this div as well. So let's create a separate div to hold the image. So we will be controlling the image's height and width through this div so that it does not overflow and collide with other elements. First, I'll give this a class name, call this logo container. Okay, and I'm going to create in the components a new file to store the CSS. On style sheet, it's going to be navbar.css. And if you remember from our CSS selector section from CSS classes, this we can target this element by doing dot and the class name. So which means all of the elements that have this class will inherit these styles. Okay. So we'll go ahead and give it a width of 250 pixel and a height of 5 pixel. Let's see how it looks now. Was it not up? Okay, we have to import the styles as well. File CSS. It's not working. Let's try to inspect it. Okay, we do have it. Okay, let's target the element directly. Yeah. Okay. So the height seems a bit less for this. Let's see. Okay, let's make it 75. Okay, it's looking good. So since the background is also white, we are unable to see the logo. So what we'll do is we will give this background to the whole body itself, since this is how our site's going to look, right? So let's take this background, and you can see here the CSS for this gradient background for this. So I'm just gonna copy this and come here, go to the app CSS and say body will have this background. Did we miss something? Copy this whole thing and try. Yeah, I'm probably missing something, but not sure what. Let's see. Okay, we will come back to this later, I guess. So yeah, let's focus on the UI right, the navbar right now. Okay, so we can see the logo properly now with the logo and the text. And yeah, let's go ahead and add the button as well. So you can see that this button is kind of being reused here, and here. So we'll create a single button that we can use it at both places. Okay, so I'm gonna say components. We'll call it a button. We'll call this custom button. We can call this gradient button. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so let's start with the button. So we'll have a button, and what do we want the button to have? We will get it through the props. We will say button text, and we'll render that button text in here. Okay, so this is one concept we did not cover yesterday. So this is how we pass props. So this is the concept of props. So if you want to pass in, custom attribute. So similarly, how you can pass attributes such as class name to, HTML elements, you can also pass your own properties to your own components, and they will be available as a property called props. To demonstrate that, I'll just log the props over here and pass in some props from app.js to the navbar. So I'll just say text equals hello. If you go back to the app and check our console, so this is basically the props getting logged, and you can see that the text that we sent to this element as text equals to hello is now accessible inside the props object as props.text. So if I do props.text, I'll be able to access this hello. So similarly to our button, the way we can access that button text is that we can do props.button text. So whatever I pass as button text to this gradient button, that will be rendered as a children to this button. So let's see that in action. When I export this button, remember that we need to export components in order to use them in other components. So we need this in the navbar, and we need it right after the image. So we will say connect wallet. Okay, so not looking very good, right? So let's do something about this. So we will give a class name for our navbar container, and we will say navbar container a width of 100%, and we will make it flex, and justify continuous space between. So this will align them in a way that there is space in between them. So let's also add padding that so they're like like sticky to the edges over here. So let's do that, fix that by adding a little bit of padding. Let's say 20 pixel. Okay, that is cool. It's kind of overflowing. Let's add this padding. Okay, to our like inner container and see how that looks. Okay. Okay, we do have to style the button as well. Let's see. Let's try to get the font. It says the font is Montserrat. So let's get that font from Google Fonts. Okay. So let's search for the font here. Okay, you can see that it's available. So we click on that, and we'll have to select the kind of font we want. If you look at it in the design, it's of weight 900. We'll add a similar font, weight 900. Yeah. So just click on the plus icon here, and it will show you how to use it on your in your web project. So we'll do import. You can directly copy this in this line, and we'll have this in our app CSS. Now this style is accessible throughout the project. So we'll come back to gradient button. Let's create a CSS file to have file for sorry, the styles for this button, right? Say style sheet gradient button.css. CSS. Okay, and we will do just give this button a class name. Okay, and we will use the class selector to select the button. Okay. And then we'll say font family is font, font weight is 900 if you remember from the design. So that gives us the required font for our button. Let's import this style inside the component as well. Import in button CSS. Okay, we got the font. So let's also change the font color, which should be white. We can just do color white. Okay, now let's change the background. Along with the border radius. Oh, looking pretty similar. So we're just gonna add some padding to it. Okay, and it should look good. 10px and 20px. Okay, let's also give it a minimum width. What's the width of this button? We'll give that as the minimum width. So we'll give 400 pixels. Okay. So another good practice that we could follow is to use RAM instead of pixels. So the idea behind this is the pixel value is kind of dependent on browsers, something that people can uh, have access to change the units of it in a way. So RAM would be something that would be consistent across all of the different browsers and would keep the UI, responsive. So I'm just going to convert all of our PX values we have used to RAM and replace them. So 20px is 1.25 RAM. Point 0.25, let's say 6.2 RAM and 425 RAM should do it. Yeah. So you can see that in the pixel it looks right. So we will change it in a way that it looks good with RAM as well. So this would be much more consistent across different UI and units. Okay. Okay. It's looking good. Okay. Awesome. Now we'll just create another container to make this look good. Add some padding to it. I don't think this is the proper way to do it. Let's add a margin 10 pixels. Yeah, I'm probably again missing something. Okay. The padding is a bit much to the button. Let's reduce it. Hmm. And the width as well, I believe. We'll keep it 13 rem. Yeah. Reduce the padding by K and this like this. Okay, awesome. Cool. Okay, let's go on building the rest of the UI. And what do we have next is this component over here, which is kind of like a small form that accepts image and shows them, as well as a couple of text inputs, and then same button that we used here being used here. Okay, so let's start building this. So we'll close all the files and start with app.js. We'll create a new button. Uh, we'll create a new component. Call it element form, NFT form. I have index.js in it. So this is another way we can organize our components. So all the components will have their own folders inside which they will have their own the React stuff and the CSS. So we'll do that. We'll create folders for each of the components. And yeah, let's follow that. Move this to gradient here. Yes. And move navbar.js CSS to navbar folder. And then we will rename navbar.js into index.js. Similarly, we will do for gradient button here. Okay. So the reason we did that is if we had not, we would have to import it in a way like navbar/navbar. So with having index.js, we would not have to do that. We can just do navbar, and it will directly load from an index.js file if there is no file specified for that folder. Okay. If we look at the app, it would still look the same. Uh, okay, did we miss out our CSS folder file? No, I think we just have to restart the server and it will work fine. Okay, so the navbar file. So since we moved it level below in the directories, kind of have to change some of the imports. And assets would also go one level above. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and build this component. All right, so cons NFT form. Let's create a div first. And so we have one element that stores image, and we will have some image as a placeholder for now. Can't think of something else. copy it. Okay. And we will give this a height of 200 and width 300. So this is the image that we see in the design here. This image. So we're building that. So right now I'm just hard coding the SRC for now. We will go on building the image input field as well. Okay. Yeah. So let's have input, right? We also need an input and another input. We'll use text area for the another input. Okay, and let's have this in the middle of the application in here. Okay, let's look at it. Not gonna look as expected. Yeah. Okay, so let's sort out the styles now. Let's have a CSS file. We'll call it NFT form styles. And we'll give this class name form container. We'll target it with this. We'll also import the same style sheet over here. Import. Okay, good. Now let's give this a display flex and flex direction column. Next good. We will also give some gap. Let's say 5 pixel and this is the gap. I will give some padding to it as well. Let's see if it looks any better. No, okay, I think, did we not import the styles? Okay, we did not give the class name. Felt like I did give it somewhere. Okay, here. Wrong place. Okay. Let's like it's like kind of overflowing. So let's give it a max width. Or let's just give it a width. Um, 100%, but we'll see what much 300 pixels, 18 points. So give it like 10 rem something. Semicolon. Okay. DRAM. And we will change a little bit of image style. We'll give the width as 100%. Okay. So this is looking somewhat good than earlier. Okay, so what we will do now is we'll give some border radius to all of the fields over here. So what I want to do is I want to target some of the elements that are inside this form container. So one way to do that is we could go on write it in a normal CSS way. And the another way we could do is use SCSS. So SCSS would let us easily to write these styles in an embedded way. So that's one of the features of SCSS. So to use it, all we have to do is yarn, or sorry, npm install Yes. Yes. I believe it's the package name is SAS itself. Yeah. Okay, we have it installed. So the next thing we have to do is change this the file name to SCSS. Then we should also change it over here. Let's see if it's working fine. Okay. Let me refresh it to confirm. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to target the image tag inside here, right? So I can do like this. IMG 100%. Okay, so I will remove the styles that I've given over here. And do them over here. So it would be 16 RAM. Still looking good. Let's check out the styles, how it has come. Okay, you can see that what I've passed down here is converted to normal CSS way to target child inside a element through this. So that's what SCSS does. It takes the code you have written in SCSS and transform them into CSS on the fly. Okay. I'm gonna give this a border radius of 3 pixels. Okay. Also for the input elements inside it, and text area. Okay. All right. Let's center it like how it is in the design. You can see that it's quite centered here. Let's try to do that. So what we can do is we could go ahead and give this another container over here. And we'll give this class name as the main container. And yeah, let's target this in our app CSS. Go with width 100%. Yeah, this almost looks right. Let's see. Okay, it's looking good. And we forgot the button. Let's add the button as well. So yeah, we can directly import the gradient button here and use it like this. Okay, so let's give it a button text. We'll call it mint NFT. Okay, so it's looking almost similar. I think we added a little bit more border radius than necessary. Let's remove it. Yeah, that is kind of enough. I think we need to reduce the navbar. Okay, let's change the style for the title and description nav inputs we have here, similar to have is in the design. You take up these two styles for the background and border, and let's see if it works if we directly copy paste it. Yeah, looks pretty similar. Okay, we'll increase the height a little. We'll give it 1 rem. Yeah, 2 looks good. Okay, next we have to give it a placeholder so that user should know what they're trying to enter, right? So that would be title. Okay. And placeholder for this would be description. Let's see how we can add placeholder style. I think we can do that. Input placeholder. Yeah. We'll add a little padding to the title here. It like kind of stick it to the border. Okay. Add the same styles to text area. I can target both by just doing. Yeah, adding the comma you can add directly. So these kind of are attached a little bit. Let's try to give more gap to them. The form container. Okay, so now it looks good. Okay, so the border has this thing has a different border as well. So let's also get that. So we will get the whole thing, see if it looks good. And barely see the difference over here. So just give it a little more padding and see if it looks any better. I think we can notice that there's a difference. I guess once the background kind of gets fixed, it'll look better. Okay. I look at something. So if I give height 100 VH, yeah, the gradient kind of got fixed. Okay. Okay, we do not need this. So just for a demonstration, right? We'll also remove the console log inside here. I'm also gonna run prettier on this, so it looks a bit neat. So I've installed it globally, so I can directly run over here. Okay. So it all got kind of formatted in a easy to read way. So okay. Okay, so this page is done. The next one we have is this part. Let's create this. Okay, I want to make a little change to how the app is going to work. So what we'll do is, we have enough time though. Okay, let's just let it be. We'll have to create another page with React router. But since we're running out of time, we'll first create the component. And what we'll do is, we will do something like this. So when the user has connected wallet, we will show this button as Mint NFT. So when they click on Mint NFT, this form appears. And when they have, like if they close this form, then their NFTs start to appear. So we can do something like that. Okay. So that we can do it in the next session. So right now we will just do this part. I will create a simple NFT container, NFT component like this, that is just to show the NFT the user has minted. Okay, let's go ahead. So I'm going to copy this mint NFT form folder altogether, create it as a minted NFT. Okay. Since it has some similar styles to it and components. So okay, let's see. We'll rename this file as well. Change it to minted NFT. Yes. So we'll not need this text area and input styles for this one. Okay. We'll also remove that from the HTML. Oh, sorry, the component. And we'll see how this looks once we have it. Minted NFT. We change the component name. Let's also change. Is there a problem with this? Okay, we have not used it. Okay, let's see how it looks when we have it over here. It's looking very similar to here. Does have a different background, I believe. Okay, let's get that. Let's see, no change. Okay. So the only thing now we're missing is this title over here. Let's add that. So we'll just save it through props, right? And we'll place it just after the image. We'll put it inside H2. Say props dot title. And let's pass a dummy title to it from our app.js. Okay. Now let's change the color and let's also place it in the center of it. Go to form container. Okay, let's have this inside a div. And give it a class name of NFT details. Okay, and let's go ahead and do some styling to it. I do NFT details. Display flex. flex direction is going to be the default one, so we don't have to specify it. So we'll do justify content sender. Okay, I will change the color of the h1 inside of this to white. Also specify white with it's not changing. Sorry, it sets to right. Okay, looking good. We'll give it a more weight to it, so it looks bolder. Okay, it's looking pretty similar to the design. Okay, we will also get the details. We can also show them the description about it. So we create another one like this props to description. So any description passed will also get displayed over here, just below the NFT title. Okay, so in the next, I think this is enough for this session right now. So in the next session, we will like fix up the little UI things we have, and we will start with connecting wallet and minting and stuff from the next session as well. Also gonna push this code so you guys can use it in the next session. Okay. All right, guys. Now we can have questions if you have any to drop them. Why are we using it is the same work of CSS? So SCSS has quite a handful of features that we can use. So one of the things that we used is this embedding thing, right? I think it's so there's a lot of things we can do with SCSS. So the only thing that we used from SCSS is this structuring kind of thing, right? So embedding elements. So this would only mean that under form container class, this style would apply only to image inside that container. So this is one of the features we use from SCSS, even though you can still do it with something like, I believe, giving like this or dot notation something, but also achieve the same thing. This makes life a bit easier. And there are also other things like variables, mixins, a lot of features SCSS has. I'm also going to stop the recording now.